Let's do it.
Hey everybody, welcome to Tea Time with Amy and Bev. We are flying by the seat of our pants right now in a spur of the moment to get this done.
You hit record. I was about ready to say, let's do it. And then I noticed it said recording in progress.
You're like, oh.
So if anybody heard a funny sound at the beginning of this, you know what that was about.
Yeah.
It wasn't, you weren't hearing anything like out of body or like it was me.
It was Bev. Just accessing that other voice.
That's right. I was channeling.
Okay. There you go.
So how are you?
Okay. Had a huge project just finish up. I have to do a wrap up meeting, and then that project is done. It's been a project going on since August, so that's a relief. And I'm very grateful that I have learned to have better organization skills because of all the moving pieces I've had going on for a while now. So to compartmentalize. Sometimes when you think about a word and you can't say it, but when you just say it, you can say it. It's one of those words. Okay. So compartmentalizing the different things going on my life and being able to prioritize each one in their rightful manner. And yeah, so I've done really well with that over these past few months. Well, since August, so about 5 months. Things turned out great from my perspective, based on where I'm at compared to where I used to be, and super proud moments that I was able to facilitate this and oversee this project. It was great. Turned out great. Everything's great.
It's great. It's just great. Everything's great.
It's great. Instead of saying it's fine, it's fine. So it was all fine. I'm gonna say it's great.
Nice. I like it. I like it. I was listening. I'm processing different things. I was listening to Kyle Cease, Alex Ferrari did
oh yeah, I've been watching that one. I didn't watch the whole thing yet, but yeah, that's so funny. You and we
it is. It's great. I would recommend it to everybody to listen to.
Yeah.
It's got humor in it, but it's in a way that you can understand it and you hear things that are so different. Yeah. He talked about how we kind of put money on a pedestal in a lot of ways, which is true. We make it so much more bigger than it is, almost like up there with the soul and all that kind of stuff. And it's just a freaking energy. He talked about that kind of stuff, and he talked about following your passions and and I've done this, how we'll say things like, man, I wish if I had lots of money right now, I would just go do this and I would follow my passions. And he says, you basically you're robbing yourself, or you're not allowing yourself, you're ripping yourself off in so many words by not following those dreams, by not following that passion, because you'll actually gain more from that passion than you ever would have imagined that was possible. So it's like we limit ourselves so much because we think it's not possible. How I can't afford to do that. And it's like you cannot not afford to do it. Like really, I mean, I don't think if I said that right. But really, ideally, it's to go for it, because the universe will find ways to fulfill you. God will find ways to fulfill you. You'll always be, everything's always taken care of. And it's when we get sideways on stuff. There's so much information that's out there these days. My gosh, I've spent some time on TikTok, and it's talking about these quantum, just quantum perspectives. And it's like, it's so huge. You don't know that you don't know until you find out you didn't know. You know what I mean? About how you can create things and how we're these, yeah, I do believe we're a master manifester, but like, where do you go from there? And then it's like finding people, you find people, but they actually find their way on your path. It's like you're guided by spirit to go look at it. And maybe that might have been through TikTok. It might have been going to the grocery store and you're overhearing a conversation. It could be so many different things, right? The information always shows up, and it's like, it's an awesome place to be because we're used to being in this. I'm used to being this Bev that wakes up every morning and has the same thing that happens, or the same experiences, or whatever, maybe a little bit different each day. I know who that Bev is, but I don't know what that looks like opposite of that. I don't know what it looks like to, besides seeing in my mind's eye, like when you're creating, how you see yourself in the world is pretty amazing. Like, do you see yourself standing tall? Are you well dressed? What are you driving? Are you happy? What's happening for you? Like, you walk into the store and people just hand you a card. Like, it's this whole thing that you kind of create within yourself, and it's from a feel good place. It's not from a feel bad place. Because you can create that way too, but it just doesn't, it's not going to be what you want. It's going to come from a place of lack, or like this energy is not very good. So it's just, there's just so much information that's out there, and I'm so grateful and thankful for these applications that we can go look at and that can bring information to us. And I do it the same way I would do anything. I'll tell someone before, if I was going to go smoke marijuana, I would set my intentions to have, to meet up with God, or have the biggest, whatever I'm looking for. And I do the same thing if I'm going to go on the TikTok. I'm like, okay, God, like, show me some good stuff. Like, show me some stuff that's going to light me up. And it's like, when you set your intention, or you have those expectations of that, you get lit. And not lit in the old way of like, let's have a couple of cocktails, a hot toddy or something. It's not like that. It's so different. And then it's like recognizing from that space, oh, I'm passionate about this. And that's awesome. It's awesome to find those spaces. And it's like, okay, well, I have passion for that. What do I do with it now?
As you were talking, a couple things came to me when you're talking about Kyle Cease. I like the part, and I've heard him talk about it before in some of his content, but that whole idea of our relationship to money. If money was actually sitting there with us and we talked to it the way we thought about it, like money, no wonder money would leave. No wonder money doesn't show up for, they're like, bitch, don't talk to me like that, right? Because it would leave, because I'd be like, I need more of you. You're not giving me enough. And
Yeah, you're never enough.
You're never enough, and I always need more. And so that's just like a demanding relationship on money. And so when we learn to have a more fun relationship or energy towards money, then it gets better and better. And I will attest to that, because things are happening that have been a lot of fun. I wrote down a number, so twice a month, sit down to pay our bills and stuff. And every month I write down this particular number. It's in the thousands. And I'm like, as an income each month. And every time I write it down, I put, woohoo, we did it, right? With big capital letters and exclamation points. And I put a lot of excitement in it when I write it. And at this moment, on just for a monthly income between my husband and I am just $200 shy of reaching that goal.
Nice.
So I'm super excited, because I just before we did this, I just got done paying our bills for the month, and I'm just like, this is working. And then I thought, you goof, why aren't you doing this for your business? So
it's next.
Sometimes I'm a little slow, but I catch on. So I wrote down a number for a monthly income for my business, and nice. I put it with my paperwork. And so every time I see that, right? So anyway, the relationship with money is super important. And I will be sharing that link on my social media platform to have people watch it. But yeah, he has a great sense of humor, which was a professional comedian, and his humor and the way he brings it into the personal development field, or the expansion field, it's a lot of fun. And it's where you can hear it and understand it.
Yeah.
But the other thing I wanted to talk about was, just recently we had a conversation at work, and it's you have 80% of the you give 80% of your attention toward those who want to be participants in whatever they want to get out of their membership with our business. So you give 80% of your effort towards them. It's 80% effort towards the 20% that want to participate. That makes sense. So it's like really dialing in on where am I giving my time and energy and attention? Because if they have a membership and they're not participating in several of the modalities that we have to help them grow and expand their business, then they're not reaping the benefits of their membership. And then it's oh, well, I think I'm going to cancel, or and then they just don't show up, or whatever the case may be. Well, if we're focused on them and the idea that we're going to lose their membership, but we have this group over here that's really participating and flourishing, like, we have to decide where do we want to give our time and energy, and what do we want to provide them. So then as you were talking, I was like, okay, so because you said, in this human suit, almost every day is the same. There becomes a routine. We wake up, we take a shower, we get ready for the day, we have our coffee, we drive to work, we work our 8, 10, 12 hours, whatever it is, with the same people. And we have those same feelings towards those people, whatever that might be. Then we leave work, we go home, we have dinner, we sit in front of the TV, we have, right? That would be probably a mundane type of lifestyle. And then we wake up and do it all over again. Well, okay, so if you had 80% of that stay the same, 80% of your routine stays the same, but each day you focused on 20% of being different. That 20% could be listening to a podcast of, Alex Ferrari on Next Level. So it could be reading a book, or it could be spending more time outside. It could be spending more time moving your body. So if you just took that 20% each day and did something different, then that 20% grows and it becomes your 80%. And then the 20% you still want to change, you can change. Like, so it was just interesting how that just came to me as you were talking. I'm like, oh, that's really good. If we did just keep the 80% that's the same, but we know there's something we want different, then focus on that 20% to help start shifting. And 20% really isn't that much out of your day. So
It's minute. Yeah.
And it's that 1% idea too, that you stay your course, but if you make a 1% adjustment, just a 1% adjustment, then it takes you from a straight line, it takes you that 1%, and pretty soon that you're just way off over in another direction doing something else, that just because you gave that 1% shift.
Yeah.
So
it's cool. Because I liked how you said all that too, because it does make sense to me, and it makes sense. It doesn't have to be overly organized, but it's being present about where your attention's going to. Really, my dog's in here, or one of my dogs. But it's really paying attention to that, and it's recognizing, because I've been doing kind of some different stuff. It's like after a group last Sunday, I was like I'm driving through the orchard, and I'm like, I'm going to do a recording. And so I just did one on it was a quick thing, but what I caught myself. So it's like this, it's a growing thing, right? And sometimes that 20% can get kind of scary, even if it's a little bit, but it's like, I keep telling people, if you put your shoe on, always on the right foot, start with your left foot.
Right.
You know,
and that's the 20%. That's
yeah. If you brush your teeth with the right hand, switch over to the left hand, or vice versa, whichever it is. If you always brush your hair with your right hand, brush it with your left hand, like changing things. And because it brings you more into awareness. Right now, you're more present because you got to be a little bit more cognizant how you're using that brush with that left hand or whatever. But it's like, so I did a recording. I've done a couple, anything come from it major. It was stepping out and doing it. And then I'm going to post the video, and it's like, I stopped not posting the video because I looked at myself and I was like, holy hell, like, who are you? Like, who is this person I'm seeing in this camera? And then it's like, it was funny because that's when Kyle Cease came up, because he's like, I thought I had to be, if I had thought I had to be all these things before I did these things, the acting and the stuff that he's done, he would never have made it. It would have screwed everything up, but he was coming out and being himself. And so it's like, I got to be myself. And the thing that got me the most, because I was telling Brianne, like, would you just, I sent you guys that video. Did you guys check it out? You know, I just was looking for your opinion or whatever. And I told her about what was going on. And I said, yeah, I just look so frumpy and I look like this, whatever. The things I was saying about, some things I was saying about myself. And she says, you know what I see? I see my mom. And it's like, I got so emotional. I get emotional every time I hear that, because it's like, it's the truth though. It's like we get so caught up in this, this comparing ourselves in the 3D, how things should look in order for people to hear you. And it's like, no, that was my soul showing up. So I'm going to show up with my soul. And however the outside package looks, that's how the outside package looks. I'm not going to decorate. I'm not going to go do my hair. I'm not going to go do all these things. Now, I might curl it. I might figure out a way that makes me feel comfortable when my hair is growing out, my natural stuff. But it's like, it's not being so hard on self. And it's like these little things that happen to come up to trigger you just for you to look at. It's just for you to feel where that's at. And it's not to have an attachment to a situation or a person for these feelings and emotions, but it's to stop for a second and just feel that emotion in the body. Like, where is it at? Oh, that's where it's at. It's right at my heart level. Oh, it's at my solar plexus. And it's like when we start doing that kind of stuff, then we start doing that same thing with money. Like when I think about money, if I close my eyes and I say the word money, what do I feel? Do I feel good about money? I feel like someone sucker punched me in the solar plexus. So it's like, it's processing all that stuff. It's not, I don't have to go looking at experiences, but it's processing that. Okay, well, I feel that, God. What can I do to change it? What can make it different so that I can feel good about money or a relationship or whatever, or having kids or not having kids or being a grandparent? It's like, there's a million things. Do I take that? Does that, when I think about doing certain types of jobs, do I feel, what does that feel like in my body? Does it feel, do I feel giddy? Do I feel excitement? Do I feel anxiousness? Do I feel nervous? And it's like all those things, I don't have to use those words, but I just feel it in the body. And then it's like, it just dissipates, it transmutes itself into something else. And then the next thing you know, you're doing something that you didn't plan on doing, videoing. And it's like the next day I'm driving through and I'm like, nope, I'm putting it up there. I don't care. Love me or leave me. It doesn't matter if this is my journey and this is where I'm at right now. And that's all, that's what matters. And it's okay. Because if I can't be okay in my skin, how can I expect someone else to be okay in their skin if they're watching my stuff?
Yeah. And it goes along with too, for in my case, for example, leadership. Well, first of all, confidence has been a huge thing for years. Working on that myself. And so now that I'm feeling a little more confident in myself, now leadership has become a focus. And I've been listening to like John Maxwell and of course Ed Milet, Tony Robbins, and all the influencers. In December at work, so we do a lot with our community college here, a lot of collaboration, and they have a leadership program that they're doing that is a year, once a week for a year.
That's awesome.
And the 3 key people at work where I work are doing it. So every Tuesday morning, we have a 2-hour session for this leadership program. So it's like, when you think about those things, like, what do you want? Focus on it, not in a lack mentality, but wow, it would be great if I had something where I could actually attend it. And it's not costing me anything. In fact, I'm getting paid the 2 hours to sit there in this class. So it's kind of like, this is awesome, right? So having like things are flowing when the more I'm just open to allowing that process of receiving, because that's been a big issue too for so many years. I will give and give and give, but had a very difficult time receiving. And now it's a thank you for this. Whereas before it would have been a whole worthiness thing. Well, I don't deserve to take this year-long class and not have to pay for it and get paid to, like, total guilt. There would have been total guilt around the whole thing for whatever reason. And now I'm just like, hey, I manifested this. Thank you very much. I am taking it. I am going to do this, right? So that this overseeing this project, that was totally about leadership, because this year I'm a vice president in a nonprofit organization. Next year, so overseeing this big project was, let's say, just a classroom to learn how to be in the position of president next year. So it's like a precursor to get yourself used to doing these different key things in an organization type of experience. So had I not, and this goes back to that 80-20 or that 1%, had I not taken the time and energy and focus to know, first of all, acknowledge, I need to do something with my confidence because it is in the toilet. Like, it's swirling around in this shit. Like, nobody's flushed the toilet yet. It's still swirling in there. And so recognizing that for me to move forward in a different light of this life, I had to do something different in myself. And the path that I took helped me build on that, build my confidence. And for anybody, and I just had this conversation the other day, we had an evening social with this organization and with the ladies of the organization, and somebody asked me, well, what's different in you? Because I said, if you would have known me like 20, 30 years ago, well, you probably wouldn't know me because I wouldn't be sitting here with you, because this is not be my jam. And they're like, well, what's changed? So I worked on myself. I built my confidence, right? I did something different. If I was still running that same show, that same routine, doing the same things that I was doing 30 years ago, I've said it before, you and I would not be here together doing these recordings. I wouldn't be a vice president of a nonprofit organization. I wouldn't be holding an executive assistant title at the place of employment I'm at. Like, I wouldn't be having and facilitating classes or workshops like that. I would have never done this. So it comes down to, if you don't like something in your life, then what are you going to do to start changing it? And it's not, for the most part, probably not going to happen overnight. People want to lose 100 pounds, but they don't want to take the time to allow that 100 pounds to dissolve. They want to take a magic pill and then be done with it because they don't want to put in the time and the energy and the effort. Well, big things take time. So
it's also appreciating where you're at right that moment. It's just appreciation.
Yeah.
It's like, for me, it's like while we're having this conversation, I'm thinking, for me, it's like even having the confidence to even do a video at all.
Right.
Because I would never have done it before. And then it's just to be whoever I am, just to allow that flow and not to judge it. Really, there's a lot to be said about a lot of that stuff too. It's part of this. It's a personal journey, and it's like wherever it takes you. If you just, like you said, that 20%, if you decide to make those changes, the difference, it makes all the difference in the world, because then it changes. Now you're open for the next thing. Now you're open for the next thing, and I'm not spending time in it judging it like I was before. It's a totally different place. It feels different. It feels comfortable. And then it's like, I've done another video and can't for the life, like TikTok's just not, it gets to 96% and that's about it. So it's like, okay, so that means live. So I'll just go live next time and maybe make it a little bit shorter or whatever the content is, just to have it up there. But it's just doing it. And it doesn't matter whatever happens of it. Who freaking cares? Like, who cares? Nobody cares. But if it reaches one person, then it makes a difference. If it changed me just by doing it, it makes a difference. So it's like doing it anyways. It's just doing it.
Yeah, and it comes down to similar to this. Is it for everybody else or is it for us?
Yeah,
Right? Is doing
exactly.
that
It's
video
for me.
for everybody to see, or is it just for me to get out of my comfort zone and do something different and be
100%.
vulnerable and be seen and use my
Yeah.
voice, right? And get comfortable with that.
Yeah. And it's being okay. It's
Yeah.
just being your true authentic self. And so I'm learning, what does that look like for me? And that's kind of the process. That's the process I'm at right now. That's what it looks like for me. Walking the walk and, living the life. And um, it's funny because I feel like I'm a little bit behind you on some of the things, like I've got my 2025 reading here, and it's like I've got this month's stuff. And of course, this month is appreciation. Last month was all about God and community on my side, and this month's about caring and appreciation. And it's like, it's funny because the affirmation kind of matches, everything kind of matches along with something. And what does my thing say at the top of my February? Leap of faith. I got to take the leap of faith.
Nice. I did. Man, I'm like a couple days behind here. I did not pull out my February yet. I can tell you.
I do it every night. If I don't have time in the morning, I do it in the evening. And it's awesome because even Freeman will be like, "Did you journal today?" Because sometimes I don't have time in the morning and then I'll be on my way to bed and it's like, shit, I haven't done it yet. Because that's for me. I'm keeping my word to myself to make sure that I do this every time. And whether I channel write or whether I just journal, sometimes I'm just writing appreciation stuff. That's
Yeah.
it. But that's all I have. Or sometimes I'm in a space where I'm going through some processing and I'm writing down, like, what the F, God, like, what the hell am I doing here? What's my freaking purpose? How do I bless the world? And how can I show up best for the world and serve? And I might be in a whole crappy crap. There's a few days I got it documented, people. But then I didn't. It's like I had nothing good to say, but I'll tell you what, I felt lighter afterwards. I felt more peace. I felt more ease. And it's just not having an attachment to the outcome, but it's also not having an expectation every time that I sit down, I'm going to channel right. It just, I'm not in the mood sometimes. And this past week, I have had feelings of being more tired. So I feel like I'm going through more processing. I'm releasing more. I'm receiving more all at the same time, energetically. So it's like, it's honoring self.
Yeah. Mine this month is children as teachers.
Nice.
So they remind us to remember our own inner child and to recognize and heal any hurts or fears the child in us has that are with us now as adults. Children remind us to have fun and think outside of the box. So
nice.
Which is funny because I've been feeling lately a little bit of giddiness, like, oh, we got paid. I get to sit down and I didn't used to feel that way. Trust me. It was a dreadful thing to sit down and look at the bills in the checkbook because I knew there was like not going to be anything left, but I get giddy about it. And it's just been fun. Life has been fun. And it's been such a joy to have such an incredible difference, noticing the difference in me and in my experiences and the synchronicities and all the things, how they line up. And how was it? I just tell this real quick and then we'll wrap up here quickly. I went to Wally World and then I decided I had to make a phone call. So I sat in my vehicle and I made this phone call. Well, they put me on hold and I was like on hold for a while. And I thought, you know what? I'll just call them back later. I hung up. Now, mind you, after I thought about it, I was kind of being guided. It was like, don't wait. So I'm like, yeah, okay. So I hung up. I'm walking towards Wally World and the friend of mine is coming out. And I got within probably 6 feet of her before she realized I was standing in front of her. I was walking right straight towards her. And we said our highs and blah, blah, blah. And she goes, I knew I was going to see you because I saw 624 the other day. Well, 624 is one of my numbers that I see a lot. And she knows it. And, but the whole synchronicity of it, that I decided to go to Wally World, that I decided to sit in my vehicle and make that phone call. And then I decided, no, I'm not going to wait on hold. I'm going to go in and get my stuff done. And then as I'm walking in, she's walking out. And if any of that would have been interrupted, I wouldn't have seen her. So just the synchronicities like that, it's just been a lot of fun. So that is all contributed to me making that 1% change, or focusing on a 20% different, something different each day for that 20% to become my 80% now. And then if there's 20% that I'm not excited about, then what am I going to do about it? It just comes back to me. There's no external stuff about it. I'm not saying, well, Bev, if you did this, things, no, I would be happy if you would, no, I would love you more. No, it's
Yeah.
me. My life is going to be better when I do something.
Yes.
And so, ending to all that would be, if you don't like it, change it.
Yeah.
Because it's a C word, right? It's our choice.
It is, but it's like, it's recognizing you're the writer, you're the director, you're the publicist. We're all of the things.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's totally up to us. It's not up to another person.
Yeah.
And when you recognize that, that can be scary to some people, but it can be so empowering. And I find it more empowering.
Yeah.
I really do. I'm actually going to send you a TikTok that I listen to, which everybody else probably won't have it on here, but it's really, she's talking about the quantums, and she's talking about a lot of this information and how easy it is to manifest and how easy it is to create. And she was very, I liked what she said. I was like almost automatically like, I'm going to go sign up for a class with her. That's it. But then my mind got, I was like, no, I'm not going to do that right now. But I'll go and check her out, because I want to first check out all of her videos on that, and then just see what she says, because it's just, it's for us to stop for a second and check, how does that resonate in my body? How does it feel? And it felt right.
Yeah.
It felt right.
I just had a coaching session this morning, and I told her, I said, this is our second session. And I have been having her focus on, what does your body feel like when you see this person? What does your body feel like when you're having these conversations? What does your body feel like when you're looking in the mirror, right? Focus
Yes.
on how it is showing up in the body, because your body will tell you, is it feel good or does it not feel good? And then
Yeah.
making adjustments from there.
It's our greatest tool. And it's so underutilized. It was, because I'm utilizing mine that way all the time. When I'm listening to someone, ooh, I got the goosebumps, or oh, I don't like the way that felt inside of me, or do I feel a band? Like, I'm really paying attention to all of it, and then even paying attention to, what do I say? What's coming out of my mouth? If I recommend somebody to go do something, you really need to think about your gut health. I need to think about my gut health. So it's this whole process. It's all this, you don't recognize it unless you stop to listen to it all the time.
Yeah.
So it's almost as if you're watching yourself from a third party perspective to gain this information. So I'm almost like outside of myself, watching myself give out this information. So I'm like, ooh, okay, yeah, I need to write that down. Okay, I need to write that down, because it's
Yeah.
information that's flowing through us, right?
And you're like, oh, that was important.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
This, I do that with
Awesome.
social media, and well, yeah, social media, but especially TikTok's videos. And there's some things that I'm watching just to kind of feel out, and being informed of world events right now,
Yeah.
just to be in the know. It's not like I get hung up on it, and so it's none of that. But when I'm listening to these videos, the chills I get, I'm like, because I'll go, ooh, that sounds good. And the chills will just like, the God bumps, goosebumps, whatever. It's not chills like I'm cold. It's chills like, ooh, that was like truth. Like they're speaking truth. And that's
Yeah.
my indicator. And it usually is for most people, that when you get those God bumps, that somebody's speaking truth. And
Yeah.
and when I get that from somebody, from somebody who's doing videos, I will go follow them because I'm like, okay, what they're sharing is more on the this is actual instead of
Yeah.
I'm trying to divide. So,
Yeah. Reliable sources, because that's our discernment. That's how we can discern. And I've been doing the same thing, and that's where I get my information. A lot of my information I'm getting, because I get it from Freeman as well, because he follows a lot of the world stuff. And so I'll get it from him, but I also get it from there. And it's like, I'm excited.
yeah.
Like, I'm excited because the stuff that I keep getting, it's exciting.
Yeah. Me too.
Yeah.
I think things to be interesting. It's going to be bumpy, but it's also exciting. So,
It's change.
it's
Yeah.
change, and people don't like change. And so, but however, in the midst of it, change can feel very chaotic and uncertain. And we can know that it can bring a lot of amazing goodness. So it's about perspective.
Really.
Being open to it. So, all right, my friends, a lot of information. This one,
Yeah.
I made a note too to put in our notes the link to next level soul with Kyle Cease.
Nice.
And so that they can just go check that out for themselves and listen to that video. And as we do for other podcasters and information, you can do the same thing. You can be a resource for your friends and family and coworkers, people who are seeking information like this. Share the content. So you can share us through YouTube, Facebook, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Podcast Addict, Spreaker, Spotify, so many platforms that we're on. And you know, be brave and have the conversations, or just suggest the resource and share the information, the links. So any final words?
Take time to honor yourself. And you're the writer of your story. So
Yeah.
let's start sharing your story with us.
And change focus on 20% of your day that you don't like.
Yeah, I like
change
it.
Make a change.
Yeah.
So, all right, my friends, thanks for hanging out with us. Tea time with Amy and Bev, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.